Hi, I'm Dr. Brad Nelson.
And I'm Jean Nelson.
We're here to tell you about the Emotion Code, what it is, where it came from, and how it can help you to live a life free of mental and emotional and physical symptoms. The Emotion Code came about during the years that I was in practice as a holistic chiropractic physician. I spent 17 years in that practice, seeing people of all ages with all kinds of mental and physical and emotional problems. And because it was really an answer to prayer, a literal answer to prayer, that got me into the healing arts, when I got into practice, I developed this habit of asking for help with each person that I saw. Now, this was a totally private, totally personal thing. No one ever knew that I was asking for help from up above, but I was. And there were times when someone would come in to see me and I didn't know how to deal with what their problem was. I didn't know how to approach it when I would ask for help, and suddenly I would be filled with knowledge about what to do and how to help them and how to look at their problem. And that's really where the Emotion Code came from, was asking for help from up above so that I could help my patients. As time went on, it became clear to me that this method that I had developed, or that had really been shown to me, was not just for me, and it wasn't just for my patients, it was really for the whole world. And so that's why we now have the Emotion Code book, and that's why we're here today to explain this to you. I'm so grateful for the influence that my wife, Jean, has had on the development of the Emotion Code.
There were lots of mentors along the way and lots of study too. You know, things come step by step when you're learning something new. And that was one of the things also that brought the Emotion Code to us, that knowledge.
In fact, one of the most powerful things that we have learned is about the heart wall. And that all started with a dream that Jean had.
Right. One night we were staying at a hotel. Brad was going to be speaking at an event. And I had this dream. And I knew when I had the dream that it was very significant to my health. And so when I woke up, I just said to Brad, can you help me figure out what this means? You know, there were some symbols in the dream, and we figured them out. And we kind of had to pray about it a little bit because it just didn't come naturally. We had to, really dig for the answers. As soon as we figured out the symbols in the dream and what they meant, Brad had an experience that was really mind-blowing.
When we got to the last symbol from her dream, I suddenly had this experience that I can only describe to you as a waking vision, where suddenly I saw this beautiful hardwood floor in front of me, and instead of the room that I was in, I'm looking at this incredibly beautiful floor. It's the most beautiful floor I've ever seen in my life. It looked like it had 1,000, maybe 1,000,000 coats of polish on it. It was unbelievable looking. And at the same time that I'm seeing this floor, I have this understanding in my mind that my wife's heart is underneath this floor. And so I had no idea what this meant. She had no idea what it meant either when I explained it to her, what I was seeing and understanding. This lasted for several minutes. And what we ultimately found was that when she was 2 years old, being in a kind of a volatile, somewhat dysfunctional family, she felt like her heart was going to break as a child. And so her subconscious mind put up a wall around her heart to protect her heart from being totally broken. That's what we were being shown. And in the beginning, I thought that she might be the only person on earth that has this phenomenon going on, which we now call a heart wall. We now know that 93% of people on the planet have a heart wall, because when you feel like your heart is going to break, your subconscious mind will often put up a wall, and that wall is literally made from the energy of your emotional baggage, from your trapped emotions. When that wall is taken down and that wall is removed, it can make a big, big change for people. It made a big change for you.
Right. I never felt like I was part of a group. I always felt awkward and disconnected from the world, from people. And after I had that heart wall taken down, it was just such a palpable difference. I really could tell that it was gone, because I just felt connected, like I belonged, like I was part of humanity, and it was a wonderful feeling.
We've seen some incredible things happen with the heart wall. We have found that people often fall in love who never thought they would. Not long after we discovered this together, there was a patient that came in to see me. She came in for neck pain. She'd seen a couple of doctors, hadn't been able to help her. And as I'm talking with her, she's telling me that she's a nurse. She's 38 years old. She's single. She has not dated in 8 years, and she's never going to date again. She's going to die single. And she was dead serious about this. And she was an attractive person, and I said, well, why do you feel this way? What happened to you? And she said that 8 years before, she was really deeply in love with this guy who dumped her and broke her heart. So I tested her using the emotion code and found that she had a heart wall. There were 3 emotions making up this wall, 3 layers, 3 trapped emotions. And they all had to do with that breakup from 8 years before. So I cleared those 3 emotions, and suddenly the neck pain was gone. And it was actually, the neck pain was being caused by the heart wall. And so the neck pain was gone, and she left the office feeling totally fine. She came back in 3 months later, and I'll never ever forget this. She looked great, and I said, "Hey, you look great. I haven't seen you for a while. How are you doing?" And she said, she said, "My neck's been fine since I was here. But," she said, "you removed that heart wall from me, and that really works." She said, "About 2 weeks after I was here, I found out that my childhood sweetheart has been living right around the corner from me for almost 8 years, and we're dating, and we're in love, and I think he's going to ask me to marry him." And this is the kind of thing that happens when this wall is taken down, because you see, that heart within each of us is really truly the core of our being and the seat of the soul and the source of our love and creativity and the source of romance and everything else. So if you've got a wall around your heart, you've got to take down that wall and unlock that heart and open that heart again so that you can give and receive love freely, and so that you can really manifest that perfect blueprint that is inside of you so that it can manifest into the world and you can create the life that you're meant to create.
Right. Who doesn't want to feel more love in their life and be able to feel all the positive emotions that we can feel? I felt that I was able to feel more after my heart wall was removed. And it's a wonderful thing to be able to feel happy emotions and joy and love, and to have the negative emotions diminish.
So to understand what a trapped emotion is, you first of all need to realize that the human body is a very complex energy field. If you look at your hand, for example, that hand looks solid. But if you were to magnify your hand under a tremendously powerful microscope, you could zoom into the size of a single individual atom. And if you looked inside that atom, you'd see there's really nothing in there but empty space and some little infinitesimally tiny energies zipping around at the speed of light. And that is actually what you are. That's what we all are. We're beings of pure energy, ultimately. Now, we know we can measure thoughts electronically, and we believe that emotions also can be measured, and that they each have their own specific frequency or vibration. So you have very high vibration frequencies of emotion, like pure joy and pure love, and at the very bottom you have emotions of shame, and you've got down there on the low end, low vibrations, you've got things like depression and anxiety and disgust and grief and so on. Well, when you're feeling an intense emotion, what happens is your whole being can take on this new vibrational energy. Your whole body can be vibrating with that emotional resonance of anger or frustration or depression or whatever it might be. And it's during those times when you're feeling that intense emotion that sometimes it's too much for the body to take, and that energy, that emotional energy, can become stuck in the body or trapped in the body. And we refer to this as a trapped emotion.
Trapped emotions are inhabiting different parts of your body, and they're affecting the tissues in your body, and sometimes they create pain. And if you track down a trapped emotion, sometimes as you release it, you'll notice that the pain will immediately diminish. Sometimes it takes a number of trapped emotions to be released before you'll notice a lot of pain gone. But usually, by our experience, we've found that pain just kind of goes down and down and down until oftentimes you don't have any pain left. And that's a wonderful thing, to be able to get rid of your pain in such a simple and quick way.
And that's really one of the first ways that we comprehended what this emotional baggage that we have is doing to us, because we saw in a practice where many people were coming to us because of their physical pain, we saw physical pain go away by releasing this emotional baggage. Let me explain to you why this is. You see, when you develop a trapped emotion, it's a little ball of emotional energy from about the size of a baseball to about the size of a volleyball, we think. And these trapped emotional energies will lodge in the body. And then they do two things to you. They will distort the normal energy field of the body. Now, when you distort that normal energy field of the body, you're ultimately distorting the body itself, the tissues themselves, because that's all the body is an energy field. And so as you distort that energy field, You're interfering with the chemical reactions taking place within those tissues. You're interfering with the flow of chi energy. You're interfering with the flow of blood and lymph to some degree. And so this is one of the big reasons, the big reason we believe, why these trapped emotional energies cause physical pain. But then they affect us in another way too. You can think of every trapped emotion as being like a dual-edged sword because they have two effects. They have a physical effect, but then they have this mental emotional effect. Because you see, every trapped emotion that you have continues to vibrate into your body and out into the universe their specific frequency of energy. So for example, if you have a trapped emotion of anger in the body, you're going to feel more prone to that emotional energy. I had a man that came into my office one day who was suffering from severe back pain. It was about a 9 on a 0 to 10 scale. And I tested him and found he had a trapped emotion of anger that was causing his low back pain. I tested using the emotion code. This had occurred about 20 years before. And he remembered what had happened. He'd been through something really difficult. I released the trapped emotion, and the pain went from a 9 to a 0 that fast. It was amazing. He was ecstatic, and it was kind of miraculous for him, and I was grateful that it worked so well. But the interesting thing is he came back to me a couple of days later, and he said, Dr. Nelson, my back is great. He said, I still can't quite believe how well that worked. But he said, I have to tell you something. He said, for as long as I can remember, I've been basically a rageaholic. He said, I'm always yelling at my wife and my kids. I've got to watch the road rage. He said, I've been to anger management several times, hasn't really helped me. But he said, since you released that emotion of anger from me, I just don't feel angry anymore. I feel kind of peaceful, and I feel really different. He said, how does that work? And at the time I remember I said, well, I really have no idea because I didn't have the understanding yet. But now what we believe is that every trapped emotion, you see, is resonating in your body at its own specific frequency. So in other words, he had a trapped emotion of anger affecting his low back. But when a situation would arise in his life where he might tend to feel angry, he would feel angry. He would slide right into that resonance, right into that vibration much more easily, much more readily than he otherwise would have. Why? Because literally part of his body was feeling anger all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's one of the most amazing things about this, you see, is that our lives are being diminished because of the emotional baggage that we're carrying, and it's invisible. We can't even see it.
Emotions can land anywhere in your body. These little balls can be in any part of your body at any time. And so, and in fact, you can even inherit emotional energy from your ancestors. When they're inherited from your ancestors, it can come from your parents or from someone further back in your line.
Let's explain a little bit about the subconscious mind. You see, we live in our conscious mind, and our conscious mind is very, very limited. It's kind of like a computer that has limited memory. Think about this. Was there something in the last week that got you in trouble that you forgot to do or to say? Was there somebody you forgot to call? Did you drop the ball somehow? Well, did you? We probably all do, right? We all do things like that. And it's because that conscious mind is very limited. But the subconscious mind is incredibly powerful. It remembers everything you've ever done, every face you've ever seen in a crowd, everything you've ever eaten or tasted or touched or smelled. The whole history of your health or disease is all in there in your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind knows about your emotional baggage. It knows what trapped emotions you have, where they are in your body, when they occurred, who was involved, everything about them. So we tap into the subconscious mind through muscle testing. And so muscle testing is simply a way to access the subconscious computer system of the body and get answers. So now we want to show you how this works. And our model, Renee, is going to help us. This is Renee. Say hello to everyone. Renee.
Hello.
All right. In order for us to do the emotion code, we have to tap into the subconscious mind. And we do that using muscle testing. Now, in the emotion code, we teach you various different forms of muscle testing. And I'm going to show you one of the most commonly used methods right now, which we call the arm test. And here's how this works. Hold your arm straight out, Renee. I'm going to put 2 fingers of my hand right here on her arm and just say, my name is Renee.
My name is Renee.
She says her name is Renee, and I press down, and she's nice and strong. She can resist me. Why? Because that's a true statement that she just made. Now let's have her tell a lie. Say, my name is Bob.
My name is Bob.
She says her name is Bob, and suddenly her arm goes down because her subconscious mind knows that her name isn't Bob, and it kind of short circuits her temporarily. All right? So let's ask this question. So Renee, you said that your neck is bothering you, okay? Is it on the left side or the right side, or?
It's on the left side.
It's on the left side. And on a 0 to 10 scale, how would you rate your discomfort in there? From 10 being call 911 to 0 being no pain at all. What do you think?
Like a 2.
It's about a 2. All right. Okay, that's fine. So what we can do is we can use the emotion code to see if there is an underlying cause, or in other words, a trapped emotion, that might be contributing to this pain. Now, a person does not have to have pain for you to use the emotion code. People can have no pain at all, or you can ask about some other symptom that a person might be having. It doesn't matter. But let's ask this question. Do you have a trapped emotion we can release that's contributing to your neck pain? And the answer from her subconscious mind is actually, that's a yes answer, see? So that's very strong. So there is a trapped emotion. So now what we can do is, in the emotion code book, there is a chart of emotions, okay? What we'll do is we'll actually use this little chart. It's a magnetic chart that you can purchase from our store. It's just a simple magnet. You can also use the app that is available for mobile devices that has the chart in it, okay? Now, at this moment, her subconscious mind knows what the trapped emotion is. It knows when it occurred, it knows who was involved, it knows everything about it. And it knows that it's contributing to her neck pain. So what we are doing now from this point on is we're simply trying to figure out, trying to determine what her subconscious mind knows implicitly. So it's almost like we're playing charades with her subconscious to get these answers. So watch how this works. We have a list of 60 emotions divided into 2 columns and 6 rows. Now, to figure out the emotion, we simply ask, is this trapped emotion then in column A in the chart? We get a yes answer there. So that's a yes. That means we've eliminated column B. So we have 30 emotions left out of 60. So we know it's in column A. Is it in one of the odd rows in column A? We're dividing column A into 2 parts. Is it in one of the odd rows in column A? And the answer there is also yes. We could check our work by asking, is it in one of the even rows in column A? And the answer C is no. So we know now we've narrowed it down to 15 emotions. We know it's in column A, either in row 1 or row 3 or row 5. So let's ask which row it's in. Is this emotion in row 1 in column A? And that's strong. We could check our work and ask, is it in row 3 in column A? No. It's in row 1 in column A. So we've narrowed it down now to 5 emotions. And so you can see how fast this is, right? Out of 60 emotions now, we've narrowed it down to 5. So it's either abandonment or betrayal or forlorn or lost or love unreceived. So these are all really fun, right? Fun emotions. So here we go. There aren't any fun ones really on here much. So let's ask, is the emotion abandonment? Is that what this is? No. Is the emotion betrayal? Is that what this is? Her subconscious says no. Is the emotion forlorn? Is that what it is? And that one is very strong. You feel that? Forlorn. Try it again. Is the emotion forlorn? It is. That one is strong. So we know that that's the emotion. What does this mean? It means that at some point in her existence, she felt that emotion strongly and it became trapped in her body. And it's part of the reason why she's got this pain in her neck. Okay? So let's ask at this point, do we need to know more about this? You see, sometimes the subconscious mind wants a little more information brought to conscious awareness before it will allow that energy to be released, you see. So let's ask, do we need to know more about this trapped emotion? And her subconscious mind actually at this point says no. So that's fine. So when the body says no to that question, we can go ahead and release that trapped emotion. So turn around and face that way. And so now at this point, we'll take a magnet. Now you can use any kind of magnet. The magnet can be any strength. It can be any polarity. It doesn't matter. And in fact, if you don't have a magnet, it's okay. You can use your own fingertips because they are also magnetic. Your body's magnetic. So since we have a magnet, we'll use it. And what we're going to do is we're going to swipe down the governing meridian, which runs right down the middle of the back. And we're going to do this 3 times. 1, 2, 3. There we go. All right, turn and face this way. Hold your arms straight out now, and let's ask if we released that trapped emotion. We want to know if we released it. Did we release that trapped emotion? Her body says, yes, we did. Okay, now what I'd like you to do now is maybe just walk a little bit that way and then come back. Now, when people are in pain, I like to have them, after we release a trapped emotion, I like to have them walk just a little because it helps things to kind of settle into place. And so I'd like you to move your neck around now. Yeah, just move it around a little bit left and right. And let's see how it feels now compared to how it was feeling before. It was about a 2 before. How does it feel now?
It feels great.
Okay. Do you feel any pain in there?
No, and I have more movement, which is weird because usually I can't go like past my shoulders.
Yeah.
On each side. So.
It's weird, right? It works. All right, awesome. Okay, so that's essentially how the emotion code is done with another person. And again, remember that if a person doesn't have any physical pain, it's okay. You could simply ask something like this. Do you have a trapped emotion that we can release now? If you don't have a symptom, that's okay. Let's ask that question right now. Do you have a trapped emotion that we can release now? And her body actually says, yes, let's release another one, okay? So here's how it works. Let's ask, is this trapped emotion in column A in the chart? This one is, so we've eliminated column B. To check our work, we could ask, is this trapped emotion in column B? And her body says no, okay? So it's in column A. We have 30 emotions left out of 60. Is it in one of the odd rows in column A? Is it in row 1 in column A? No. Is it in row 3 in column A? That's very strong. So now we've narrowed it down to 5 emotions just that fast. Crying, discouragement, rejection, sadness, or sorrow. These are also fun. So let's see here. Is the emotion crying? Is that what it is? No. Is the emotion discouragement? Is that what this is? No. Is it rejection? Is that what it is? Nope. Is it sadness? Yep, bingo, sadness. So out of those 5 emotions, we've narrowed it down. See, we know that the emotion is sadness. And let's ask, do we need to know more about this? And in this case, your subconscious mind says, yes, there's something else that you need to bring to conscious awareness before I will allow this to be released. That's what her subconscious is saying. So let's see. You're how old right now?
36.
She's 36, so we'll divide her life in half, roughly, and we'll ask, did this occur earlier than age 15? Okay? And her body actually says yes. Now, the emotion was sadness, right? Sadness. It occurred earlier than 15. Did it occur earlier than age 10? Yes, it did. Did it occur earlier than age 5? Yes, it did. So we're going way back, right? Did this occur earlier than birth? No. So we know it's between birth and 5. Now, here's the thing. When we go back like this, there's not much that you probably remember from your life then. I mean, that's just how it is. But the subconscious mind remembers everything, every split second of your life. It's incredible, but it really does. So let's ask, did this occur in the first year of your life? No. Did it occur in the second year of your life? No. Did it occur in the third year of your life? No. Did it occur in the 4th year of your life? 4th year. Okay, so something happened to you during that time, age 3, 4, sometime right around in there. Now, and these are generally accurate within about a year, give or take, when we go back this far. So let's ask, do we need to know more about this emotion? Now that we've figured out the age, do we need to know more about this? And the answer is yes, we do need to know. There's something else we need to know. Now, usually at this point, when we figured out when it occurred, usually the next thing, if we have to dig deeper, it will usually mean that this emotion was not your emotion, but that you absorbed it from somebody else. This is not unusual. What can happen sometimes is that if someone that you're close to, for example, is feeling an intense emotion, you may absorb that emotion from them, and it may become trapped in your body. And when you're finding that out, maybe many years later, the subconscious will usually want you to know, this wasn't my emotion, this was actually mom's or somebody else's. So let's ask, was this your emotion? And see that? The answer is no. So it didn't originate with her, and we could ask then, who did this come from? Was this from a female? Was this your mother's emotion? And actually it was, okay? So your mom was going through something and feeling sadness, and you were little, and you were feeling it too, and it got stuck in your body. Now, let's ask, at this point, let's ask again, do we need to know anything else about this? Now our subconscious mind says, no, now we've identified everything we need to, right? So now we can release it. So that's how this is done. So let's go ahead and release it, face that way. So you see, here's some emotional baggage that may or may not be causing any symptoms for her, and yet her subconscious mind wanted this to be released. Think of this, 32 years or so she's had this emotional energy of sadness. It's been affecting her in subtle ways that it's been affecting her in subtle ways that she may not even recognize. But let's release this now. We'll just do 3 swipes of the magnet down the back. Go ahead and turn and face this way. Now when you release a trapped emotion like this, you always want to come back and ask, did we release that trapped emotion? And the answer is, yes, we did. We released it. So there you go. Awesome. Fantastic. Now the beautiful thing about this is when we release a trapped emotion like this, it's gone. It's kind of like if you were to take a credit card, for example, out of your wallet, and if you were to rub a magnet on that magnetic strip that contains that data, the card wouldn't be any good anymore, right? You'd have to get a new card. And it's the same thing here. What we're doing is we're erasing that emotional energy that's trapped in the body by using the magnets or fingertips, okay? One thing that you always want to let people know, and that is that when we release emotional baggage like this, the body will go through a processing period that goes for a day or 2. And most of the time people don't notice any symptoms from that processing, but you might, okay? You might notice that you may cry, all right, more than you normally do. You might feel kind of emotionally up and down. You might have vivid dreams. You might need to sleep more, or you might feel like you can't sleep. We never know what the symptoms might be. But what's happening is the body is processing the release of that emotion, and so you might feel some echoes of that emotional energy as the body is really processing. Okay. So one of the things that I want to explain is that the intention that you have when you're releasing that trapped emotion is to release that emotional energy. Now, one of the beautiful things that we have found is that when we release these trapped emotions in this way, they don't ever come back. They're gone. Kind of like the credit card example, when you rub a magnet on that credit card magnetic strip, that data is gone. It's not coming back. Same thing here. It's important to believe that what you're doing is going to work and help that person. And what the magnets do is they essentially magnify that intention that you have to release that trapped emotion. It's important to have love for the person that you're working with. You want to have a heart full of love for them, and you also want to have a heart full of gratitude if you can. Gratitude that this is going to work, gratitude that this is going to help them. Love and gratitude are, I believe, the 2 most powerful forces in the universe. And when you allow your heart to fill with love and gratitude as you're working on someone, that is really the secret, I believe, to being a great healer and to enabling this work to work through you so that you really will be able to help people in really significant ways. One of the things that I want to explain is that we can develop trapped emotions at any point in our lives. Sometimes we see people that have developed a trapped emotion when they're in the womb. Oftentimes it's because their mother or their father was going through some intense emotional thing. That can affect you in your life later, you see. And you can find those with the emotion code. Sometimes we inherit emotional energy at the moment of conception from mom or dad, and they might have gotten it from their mom or dad, and it may go back tens of generations. And that energy can be affecting you in the here and now. And the beautiful thing about finding and releasing inherited emotional energy like that is that it clears not only from you, but also from all of those ancestors all the way back, and even your children if you've maybe passed that energy to them. So there's more to this, because trapped emotions can also be developed by your pets. Animals experience emotions just like people do. And the beautiful thing about the emotion code is that when you learn how to use it for people, you automatically already know how to use it for animals. And it's the same thing. We use the same exact chart, and it's really fun to work with animals. And of course, in the emotion code, we show you how it's done, and it's actually really simple. But the results that you get with animals are amazingly rewarding, because there's no placebo effect with animals. But their physical problems, their lameness, for example, their behavioral problems can be corrected usually by just releasing their emotional baggage. It's an amazing thing. What we have found is that sometimes, before we're even conceived, we have trapped emotions from the world that we lived in before. And we can find and identify and release that kind of trapped emotional energy as well. One of the things that you can use the emotion code for is to find the underlying reasons for your own behaviors that you're not happy with. Do you have any behaviors that you're not happy with, that you do? Any things that you do that you don't like?
Yeah.
Okay, most of us do, right? Most of us have some kind of behaviors that we'd rather not have. There was a man who came to one of our events, and he told us that a year before the event, he weighed 365 pounds. At the event, he weighed about 185 pounds. He had lost all that weight. Basically, he had lost the equivalent of a whole entire person that he was dragging around. He did that in a year. How did he do that? He said that what he did is when he would have that emotional eating urge, the urge to eat the whole pan of brownies or the whole entire, king-size pizza or whatever it was, he would stop and he would use the emotion code and he would ask himself, do I have a trapped emotion right now that is behind this urge for my emotional eating? Is there something there? And he would find a trapped emotion driving that behavior and he would release it. And he said that's all he did. Nothing else changed in his life. He found the emotional reasons for his eating and he was able to release those. And it was really an amazing transformation. Now I want to share with you how you can get the emotion code. Of course, the book is available in soft cover from Amazon, from your local bookstore, and it's all in here. How to find the heart wall, get rid of it, how to work with animals, how to do this at a distance, how to work with your loved ones and family members that might be on the other side of the planet or in the next state. You can also get the Emotion Code book on your app. There's an app here that you can get on the App Store or the Google Play Store, so you can get it on your mobile device. And it has an interactive chart of emotions in it, so that you can use this, find the chart, find the emotion. If you don't know what the emotion is, you can just click and it will give you the definition. And also, this chart actually, or the book is in here, and it will actually play the book for you. So you can listen to the book. The Emotion Code. There you go. So the whole entire book is in there, and that's a really nice way to be able to read the book. We have these chart magnets available for you on our store at discoverhealing.com. So, but remember, you don't have to have one of these. A Hello Kitty magnet works really well for this, or the magnet from your plumber on your fridge. It doesn't matter. This is not a complicated thing, not an expensive thing. In fact, you can get the Emotion Code book absolutely for free by going to emotioncodegift.com. You can download the book there for free. It's a PDF, and you can also download the entire book on audio. It's 10 MP3 files. And that's also totally free. It's about a $67 value, totally free. You can go, again, the app for the book is currently $1.99. So you can get this amazingly powerful technology into your hands. And it's not expensive. And what we recommend for people is that you just try it. And once you try this and you start actually seeing how this works, you'll realize how critically important it is to get rid of your own emotional baggage. And then once you get rid of your own emotional baggage and you take down that wall around your heart, it's going to change your life. And then you're going to realize you're going to start thinking about the people around you that you love and that need this. One of the things that I want to point out is that you do not have to have any kind of symptoms at all to use the emotion code. Some people don't have any symptoms. But what people typically say is once they start releasing their emotional baggage, they often will say that they didn't realize that they weren't feeling as well as they actually could feel, and they're amazed how much better they actually do feel. So remember that what we have found is that depression and anxiety and phobias and panic attacks and PTSD and eating disorders and self-sabotage of all kinds will be changed and will improve when you use the emotion code on those problems. Physical problems like migraine headaches, neck pain, back pain, carpal tunnel syndrome, stomach problems, digestive issues, knee pain, foot pain, all kinds of pain. 90% of all the physical pain that we experience is actually due to emotional baggage. And to believe that, you actually have to use the emotion code, and then you'll see that what we're saying is actually true. It's amazing. Trapped emotions are really the elephant in the living room in Western medicine. And we're just now finally starting to realize that the human body is an energy field, and that the biggest hindrance to having an energy field that's perfectly functioning is emotional baggage, little emotional energies that get into that energy field and disrupt us and interfere with things. Now, how old is your oldest?
13.
13, okay. Your 13-year-old can learn this and do this. In fact, let me tell you a story. I was talking with a woman who told me that she got the emotion code, and she got the emotion code on audio, and she started reading it and listening to it. And her son started reading it and listening to it, and he started practicing with his friends. And a couple of weeks later, the phone rang. And the woman on the other end of the phone line identified herself as the mother of one of this woman's son's friends. And she said, listen, your son's been doing this emotional thing with the other boys. And she said, I haven't paid much attention, but she said, I have to tell you something. She said, my son has had a severe phobia of water all of his life. And it's been very disruptive to our family and to his life. And we've taken him everywhere and tried everything and taken him to everybody. Nothing has ever worked. And we've assumed that he was going to have this for the rest of his life. But she said, I'm at the community pool right now. And she said, my son is out playing in the water with the other boys for the first time in his life. She said, your son did this to him. She said, I can't wrap my mind around how this is even possible. What in the world is he doing? How can this be? And those two boys are only 11. And that's how powerful this work is sometimes, you see, and how easy it is. I mean, if an 11-year-old can learn it and do it, then your 13-year-old could easily do it, right? There's no age limit for this. So that's what the emotion code is. Just a nutshell. There's a lot more to it than this, but we wanted to give you this little introduction and share with you a little bit about how this works and what it is and how powerful it can really be. So thanks, Renee.
Thanks.
All right. Now, trapped emotions are an epidemic, really, in our world. You see, what we have found is that every disease process, in almost 30 years of doing this work now, we have found that trapped emotions are an underlying cause of everything we suffer from anxiety to depression, panic attacks, phobias, PTSD, eating disorders, self-sabotage of all kinds. Trapped emotions are a cause of those things. Trapped emotions are an underlying cause of all kinds of physical problems, infertility, asthma, digestive disorders, and they are the underlying cause of 90% of all the physical pain that people have, from migraine headaches to neck pain to back pain to carpal tunnel pain, knee pain, hip pain, you name it. Trapped emotions are the most common underlying common denominator for all of these problems. And the beautiful thing about the emotion code is that you can learn it, you can do it yourself, and you can help yourself, you can work on yourself, you can release your own emotional baggage, you can release your own heart wall, and you can release the heart wall and the emotional baggage of your own kids and your own parents and your own family and your own friends.
We hope that you've enjoyed this introduction to the emotion code. We've had a lot of fun here today.
One of the things that we also want to mention to you is that if you really like the emotion code and you really want to master it, we have a certification program that is available for you. It's not expensive, it's all done entirely online, and you will have help going through that. And a lot of people find that the certification program not only enables them to then have clients and charge people for the emotion code work, thereby giving them an actual practice in many cases, but it also is a way for them to really own it and really master it and become expert at it. If you've ever thought that maybe you might want to have a different kind of a life, you can have a wonderful, amazing life as an emotion code practitioner. We have thousands of them now in many, many countries all over the world. And many of them work with other clients that are in other countries that they might not ever actually meet in person, but yet they will have often changed their lives. It's a beautiful kind of a business. All you need is a laptop. You can travel, and all you need is a Wi-Fi connection. So you can work from a coffee shop with your Wi-Fi connection and your headset. You can work with your clients and be free, maybe for the first time in your life.
Just use it. It's wonderful, and you'll be really glad that you did.
Thanks for listening.
So immediately after Dr. Nelson released the emotion, I noticed the range of motion I have in my neck. I usually can't turn my neck past my shoulder. But the interesting part was that when he brought up the emotion sadness, that happened when I was 4 years old. I don't have a lot of memories from birth to 7, which is very ironic because most kids can remember their childhood, but my parents had a very dysfunctional marriage and they split when I was 7. But as he released this sadness emotion, and as they talked about it, I had this vision of my mom crying over the sink, and I had to have been really little, probably like 4 or 5. So, and I never saw that before, that he mentioned the emotion sadness. So that was, I guess, mind-blowing for me. I actually have never met Dr. Nelson, and in fact, when I kind of heard about what he does, I was a little bit skeptical, and I thought, this has to be kind of, ridiculous, but I'm kind of a believer now. I'm excited to read this book, and actually, as you talked about, kids can do it. My kids have different things that go on in our life, especially my older son. He has a lot of anger, so I'm going home and I'm gonna see what I can do with this, because that would be amazing for him. And in fact, my younger daughter, she's dealt with night terrors and issues, and she's 10, and so that's another thing I want to do, is try see what emotions I can release from her, because she can't even sleep at night sometimes. So I'm super excited to see what I can do with my own family.